Hello, welcome everyone to another session on current affairs by Civis 360 IAS Academy. So in this session, we will be analyzing an important news that happened in the March of 2025, and we will delve deeper into the news. We will divide the news into various topics, and we will begin with topics that are important for UPSC Prelims 2026. Then we will also focus on topics that are important for the mains of 2026 as well. So watch this video in its entirety and you can understand how we have structured the topics by including both prelims as well as mains. So let's start with the current affairs session. So the news that we are going to be discussing today was an avalanche, a slab avalanche that happened in the Mana Village, which is in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. It was in 28th February 2025. So essentially we will be looking into the different organizations involved, the location where this has happened, and the avalanche itself. What is that avalanche? How does it happen? And what are the measures taken, etc. We will go into that. So whenever you get a news, please take a comprehensive idea regarding the news. That is, do not just stick to yourself on the prelims bit. Also look into whether that question has any prospective or for any potential for UPSC mains as well. So we have filtered out important current affairs. So please watch all these videos. They will include all these topics and focus on both prelims as well as in mains. So this was the news. Essentially in this news, if you look carefully, there are various organizations involved. You have the Indian Army, you have the Indo-Tibetan Border Police, you have the Border Roads Organization. The avalanche happened in the Mana Village again. So let's go into each of them one by one. The first important organization that we will be discussing is the Border Roads Organization. The Border Roads Organization, keep in mind the first important point, it is not a statutory body. It is not established under any statutory act. It is established by an executive resolution, a government resolution. So essentially, it is an executive body. Okay, so it was raised on 7th May of 1960. So 7th May 1960, keep that date also in mind. So 1960. 7th May, executive body. It functions under the Ministry of Defense, and you can understand it is, you can just link the words borders. It obviously is involved in infrastructure, essentially roads, but also other infrastructure in the border areas. Border Roads Organizations, pretty simple. So that is basically its core, the reason d'etre for its establishment. So it functions in various border areas as well as in friendly neighborhood countries. Keep that also in mind. It's not strictly in India. It functions in Afghanistan, it functions in Myanmar, it functions in Bhutan, Nepal, and all those friendly neighborhood countries as well. To expedite process, recently a Border Roads Development Board has been also established, and the Prime Minister is its chairman and the Defense Minister is its deputy chairman to complete the projects on time. The main officers comes from the General Reserve Engineer Force as well as from the Indian Army also. They have separate engineers. The officers and the personnel primarily comes from these sources. It is also included in the order of battle of armed forces, which simply means that if there is a war like or a conflict occurring, the BRO also can be called on to actually fight. Also, keep in mind the motto, which can be a direct question in any competitive exam. Sramana Sarvam Sadhyam. Everything is achievable through hard work. So keep that motto also in mind. So this is about BRO. So this is the first, when you read the news, check if there is any international or national organization involved, any body, any institution. Then you have to check whether it is established by an act. When was it established? What does it do? Under which ministry it functions? So these are the generic things that you have to keep in mind when you are studying about a international or a national organization. These are some of its achievements. Essentially, the important projects that it has taken so far. I just mentioned two important projects, Atal Tunnel as well as the Sela Tunnel. When tunnels are also an important, part of UPSC current affairs essentially. So keep in mind, Atal Tunnel, if you've been to Manali, Manali, that highway, you initially, before the tunnel, you had to pass the Rohtang Pass, which is usually it gets closed. Especially during the winter season, the snow will close the Rohtang Pass, the Grambu area and all. So, Grambu area, these areas will be closed down by snow. So, Atal Tunnel is essentially providing a 24/7 all-weather connectivity to, Ladakh from Himachal Pradesh. That is constructed by BRO. Another important tunnel was Sela Tunnel, which actually connects Dirang and Tawang. It's entirely in Arunachal Pradesh. It is strategically important because of Tawang is a border area. Chinese calling Arunachal Pradesh East Tibet, and all those issues. Five fingers of Tibet. China claiming Arunachal Pradesh as another extension of Tibet. So Tawang is a very strategic area, and Sela Tunnel ensures a all-weather connectivity to those areas, and those have been constructed by BRO. Okay, so these are the projects of BRO, which is also quite important. I have listed a few important projects, like for example, remember Arunang project, which is in Arunachal Pradesh, Dastak project, which is in Bhutan, then Himang project, which is in Ladakh. These are the regions in which BRO functions, and the name of the project also just keep in mind. Dandak, Himang, Vartak, Arunang. Okay, these are some of the important projects. Okay, this is a sample question which has been given on BRO projects. So here you can see that it's only 1, only 2, only 3 format. It is actually this is the pattern that is followed by UPSC, and last year, that is in 2025 prelims, 30 questions have come from this kind of pattern. So it's very important that you have a comprehensive idea about these kind of topics so that you can answer these type of questions. These type of questions are very hard. You need to have solid knowledge of various topics, and a 360 level of knowledge if you want to answer it. In this question, if you look carefully, some sort of common logic can be used, but do not depend on that. I have given that in the previous slide. We saw the projects. Please learn these projects where BRO functions, and then answer the question. So if you have knowledge of those projects, you can easily answer them. If you have not, just use project Arunang is mentioned. It actually has some resemblance with Arunachal Pradesh. So there is a high probability that this is usually, or most probably, it's correct. I'm not saying that it could be correct. There is no guarantee that UPSC also will, give hints like that. So please study carefully, read editorials so that you can do that common sense, logic-wise guesswork. But please ensure that you study. You actually sit down and study these things, because these kind of pattern like questions, they are very, very hard to solve most times. And project Himang is also mentioned. Himang, Himalaya, there is a mountainous rhyming is there. Ladakh is obviously a Himalayan region. Although you can ask that Bhutan also could be there. That's why I'm saying you need to have a comprehensive idea. You need to have thorough knowledge. So please don't learn. But this is probably, there's nothing against it. There is nothing that you can say that it could be wrong. Okay? But these two options, they can be solved only if you have real understanding of the BRO project, if you remember the project. If you remember, the project Dandak is actually, Bhutan, and Vardak was actually Assam. So the answer is only 2. So ensure that for these kind of questions, you have extensive knowledge on those topics, especially for current affairs. Please read the news, try to delve into those kind of topics, try to decipher the different organizations, different bodies they mentioned. Just don't stick to the core part, just spread out and read, like BRO, what are the projects and different regions, what are its achievements and all. Okay. The next important topic that we saw mentioned in the news was ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police. Just expand the, the ITBP, you can understand what it does. ITBP, it's a border police force. It's a central armed police force. There are 7 CAPF and the ITBP is one of them. So ITBP, its name is there, Tibet. It's actually got the Tibetan border, essentially the Chinese border. So if you look at the background, after it was raised on 24th October, so remember the date as well. After the Indo-China War of 1962, the study that showed that there is a need for a separate, dedicated police force for this Indo-Tibetan or Chinese border. That is ITBP. They guard the entirety of the border from Karakoram Pass to Jalep Pass in Sikkim. So ITBP, remember that it was raised in 1962, remember 24th October. Remember that it is actually, initially it was part under the CRPF Act, but late after that, in 1992, it was actually became a statutory police force. It is backed by a statute, which is important, keep in mind, in 1992. It is also under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So whenever you have an organization, whenever you study an organization, remember what it does, remember when it was formed, remember whether it was an executive body or a statutory body, remember it's, what does it do, functions, any projects, any achievements, what are its role, okay? So this get a comprehensive idea of the topics. Okay, also remember the motto. Shaurya, Dridhata, Karma, Nishtha, which essentially means valor, determination and devotion to duty, which can be asked straightforward. It's a straightforward question. Okay, so that is about ITBP. Okay, this is another question on ITBP, but these are a two-type statement question which have been asked. 18 questions were asked in 2023, although there was no questions in 2025. And 12 to 13 questions was asked in 2024. Please watch the video before if you have any doubts, because in those videos we have delved into the different patterns used by UPSC, how certain patterns have become irrelevant. So what kind of understanding is required to crack these kind of questions. So this pattern wherein 2 statements are given, where one explains the other. They are asking whether one statement will explain the other. Statement 2 will, whether does it explain statement 1. So here ITBP has its primary mandate guarding the Indo-China border from the Karakoram Pass to Jalep Pass. ITBP, statement 2, ITBP was constituted in the aftermath of the 1962 Sino-Indian War to reorganize the frontier intelligence and security setup on the northern frontier. So if you know that ITBP guards the Indo-China border, it was established after the drawbacks that was failed on the 1962 war, you can say that these both are correct. Okay, if you know any one of them was wrong, you could either go to C or D. Please watch those videos again. But here in this case, we know both are correct. So it's either A or B. So now you need to know whether statement 2 actually explains statement 1. So just put a because in between. This does not work always. I'm just giving you hints as to how to solve that explanation to get that logic. So ITBP has its primary mandate guarding the Indo-China border from the Karakoram Pass to Jalep Pass. Okay, here also you need to know that Karakoram Pass in northern Ladakh and Jalep Pass is in Sikkim. So that is the border line, which is true. That is the Indo-China border essentially lies from Karakoram to Jalep. Although in the extents that is there, that border is also covered. So please keep in mind. Then ITBP, because ITBP was constituted in the aftermath of 1962 Sino-Indian War. It makes sense because its primary mandate is guarding the Indo-China border. Okay, so there is a causal link between statement 1 and 2. So essentially, you will arrive at option A. So please read these kind of questions carefully. And if you get a connect between statement 1 and 2, go for A. If you feel that there is no connection, even after you put a because, it still does not make sense to you. You read the statement 2 first, then you add therefore. Then you add the word therefore. And then you read statement 1. If it still does not make sense, it is most probably it is option B. That is, statement 2 does not explain statement 1. But please, if you get an understanding that there is some sort of link, it will be option A. Please do a lot of questions, do a lot of tests so that this logic will, hit you, so that you can understand these kind of questions. Okay, the next important location that we saw where the slab level avalanche actually happened was Mana Village in Chamoli district, Uttarakhand. So talking about the Mana village, which is very close to Mana Pass, it's actually in the biosphere reserve of Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. It is part of the Garhwal Himalayas, which is essentially, there is the Kumaon Himalayas, which is the part of Uttarakhand which is bordering Nepal, which is the Kumaon Himalayas, and left to that you have the Uttarakhand. The other part is the Garhwal Himalayas, and that is where you can find the Mana Pass. Passes are very important. Mountain passes are very important for UPSC. So please keep in mind the image or the map. Please understand the how the passes are arranged from from north to south, from west to east, which pass comes first, which pass comes after. Please keep those in mind. So you can see Mana Pass here. Mana Pass essentially links India and Tibet, essentially India and China now. So Mana Pass is there, and you can see that this is the Niti Pass. This is Niti Pass, and then you have the Lipulekh Pass. These are all very important pass. So just remember the order: Mana, Niti, Lipulekh. And then you have Jalep Pass that we saw ITBP guarding the up to the Jalep Pass. So all these passes are located in Uttarakhand. That also came in. So whenever you read a pass, you have to know it connects which all regions, it is in which state, whether there is any tunnels or projects there. Then you have to know the general orientation, where it is on the in relation to other passes, in relation to other important passes, or other important locations. So here the question, just look at the question. It's a direct question, and there are 17 questions have been asked in this manner directly. These kind of questions are also mostly tricky, but they can be answered if you have a good thorough understanding of these topics. A traveler crossing from India into Tibet through the eastern Himalayas through an ancient trade route would most likely pass through which of the following? So it is going into Tibet. It's in the eastern Himalayas. That should be your hooking point. You should focus on that. You just remember the map. Eastern Himalayas essentially means Sikkim. Western Himalayas means Jammu Kashmir, Ladakh, and Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Nepal, and a little bit. Sikkim is actually in Eastern Himalayas. So there, the person is actually in Sikkim, right? So he is going into Tibet or China there. Niti Pass, we saw it is in Uttarakhand, which is in Western Himalayas. Jalep, okay, let's keep Jalep there. Shipkila, you can also see it on the map actually. This is Shipkila. Shipkila is also a Western Himalayas. Mana Pass, again we saw. You saw that Mana, Niti, Lipulekh. That was the order from west to east. So this is wrong. Shipkila is also wrong. And Niti Pass is also wrong. And the correct answer is Jalep. So please understand the passes are an important topic. Whenever there is an incident in Himalayas, if there is any mention of any passes or villages, please read it thoroughly. Okay, so these kind of topics or the topics that we discuss so far are very important for a prelims point of view. So please do not forget them. Have a comprehensive idea. Ensure that you prepare for that only one, only two, only three, only four type of questions. So really strong on these kind of topics that are asked in current affairs. Finally, avalanches. Avalanches are a very important topic, not just for prelims but also for mains. Actually, in GS1, if you read the previous year question, please read the previous year question because they are a solid source of information regarding what UPSC is asking. So please go through those kind of questions and you will understand that in GS1, geography, which has like almost 100 plus marks thereabout, will be from geography in GS1. A lot of questions have come from mountains, repeatedly come from mountains, issues that happen in mountains, glaciers, water bodies thereabout, So anything related to there is a focus area, and avalanches are an area like that. Additionally, in GS3, you have disaster and disaster management. Avalanches could also be asked there. So these kind of topics, these are important for both prelims as well as in mains. So please watch those orientation videos again, where we stress upon how to prepare for prelims via mains. This topic has an overlap between prelims and mains, makes it a highly boostful topic. That is, there's a lot of chance that if you study these topics, it is going to be very worth it. So avalanches are a rapid descent of snow, debris, all those materials. Essentially, it is under the influence of gravity. So it is a type of mass movement that we study in geography. It can be triggered by both natural and human factors. And different types of avalanches. You have loose snow avalanche. Loose snow avalanche essentially is where the avalanche actually gets loose because of the influence of gravity and all those under the weight of the pack of snow, and this goes away. So it happens in steep slopes. So keep in mind, whenever you read or study these types of avalanches, please ensure that you know the keyword related to each of them. Loose snow avalanches, remember, steep slopes. Slab avalanches, which is essentially the one that happened in Mana Pass, it occurred because of a fracture that was actually formed in the avalanches or the snowpack. We call it snowpack, and there a fracture occurs, and that creates a slab which actually drifts away, and it can reach speeds of 100 km/h. It makes it very, very dangerous. You have gliding avalanches. Gliding avalanches, remember the keyword, smooth surfaces, where one slips over the other. Smooth surfaces. Powder avalanches, essentially when the avalanche actually happens, it actually comes with suspended snow particles. Suspended snow particles. Then you have the wet snow avalanches, where the snow packs that lie on top actually melts due to increase in temperature, and this causes the avalanche. So temperature rise. Okay, these are a few important avalanches. Okay. Now, this portion is the earlier portion that we saw, the definition, what it is, the types. They can be asked in prelims. They can ask in a match the following manner. Only one, only two can be asked. This part is very important for mains perspective. Okay. So you have causes of avalanches. Obviously, if you think logically, one of the important causes is the heavy snowfall. When heavy snow comes, there is the weight of the snowpack increases, and it will slip down under the influence of gravity. Okay, this was in Mana Villages. Steep slope is another important. So whenever you write an answer for mains, ensure that you write at least one keyword per point. So you write heavy snowfall, steep slopes. These are the points that actually gives you mark. So when you study, please study the key points. Steep slope is there, which happened in Chamoli. And then you have the temperature fluctuation, which we saw earlier when we saw the wet snow avalanche. When a temperature variation happens, one snowpack will expand. The other one contract, which actually creates a fractures, and the it will slip. Earthquakes and seismic activities will obviously trigger other avalanches, because one disaster will lead to the other, right? So earthquakes, landslides, volcanoes, all these are very, very linked to each other. Earthquakes are all linked to each other. Okay, so the next important is slab formation. We already saw how slabs are formed by a fracture. Okay, which happened in Gulmarg in 2010. Also, we have seen that whenever they ask a particular disaster, they will ask you to mention the places where it happened. So please remember the places and the avalanche also, the place where it occurred, the year as well. The deforestation construction also will trigger due to the human activities, the stresses that is caused on the seismically active regions. This deforestation will cause runoff of topsoil, which will actually cause other things, like for example it may trigger like the fractures and all those things we saw. Okay, this is actually another question which uses elimination. Elimination is not yet out of fashion. It's still used. 30 questions have been asked in the last year, so you can expect it. So here we see that temperature fluctuations, which are the Western Himalayas, which are the factors contribute most directly to the formation of avalanches in Western Himalayas. Temperature fluctuations we have seen, steep slopes, yes, we have seen, high wind speeds, and then you have soil liquefaction. Okay, soil liquefaction, if you think carefully, it is not actually a direct cause of an avalanche. It's actually avalanches happen due to processes that happen within the snow itself, right? Here, temperature fluctuation causing melting and refreezing of snow layers. It happens within the snow. Steep slope exceeding 30 degrees. It is actually regarding to the slope, the gradient of the mountain or like that. High wind speed leading to uneven snow deposition, which causes the mass wasting. Soil liquefaction. Soil liquefaction beneath the snowpack. Do you think that soil liquefaction actually is a cause? Because it's not a direct cause, right? Okay, so we have read the causes, we haven't studied it. So this is wrong. And if you know the soil liquefaction is unrelated to this, you can actually eliminate this, this, and this, which will allow you to reach 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so this is the end of the prelims bit of this session. Now moving on to the mains bit. Please study that whenever you prepare for prelims, also you study for mains and then you move on to the prelims, especially on high weightage topics. Please watch the video once again because we have discussed the the high core topics. Geography is a core topic, economics is a topic. So whenever topics like those come, please ensure that you study for both prelims and mains. Like for example, geography is a core topic. It has high weightage in GS1. Also, it has weightage in GS3 because you can write many disaster, like for earthquake, volcanoes. There's a lot of overlap. So it's a highly beneficial if you study those kind of topics very thoroughly. And such kind of topics are discussed. One is the avalanches. Okay, so usually in this bit, micro topic, you can see this is a micro topic, important geophysical phenomena. They can ask, like I mentioned, mountains are repeatedly asked, issues faced. Glaciers are also being asked. So this is an important area. Please prepare avalanches. So there is a sample question here. Avalanches are not just physical phenomena but also indicators of broader climatic instability. Discuss the geomorphological and climatic factors responsible for the formation and occurrence of avalanches in the Himalayas. Essentially, they are actually expanding this statement. So they are asking us to discuss geomorphological and climatic factors for the formation and occurrence of avalanches in India. So your answer should be geomorphological factors that actually contribute. With example, you have to mention one important point. You can say that the fractures that we mentioned, fractures can be mentioned. Other geomorphological, you can mention about the temperature fluctuations and all those things you can mention. And that you write the point, you have to mention with example. Like we explained in the causes bit, we mentioned the place and the year. If you can, it's possible that you can draw a map as well and show the incidence of avalanches. So you start with the definition of avalanche, then since it is a 15 marker, you get 3 pages and you have to start with the definition. And just if you have any idea like as to the avalanches, like any technical term and all, you have a clear idea, please mention that because they do fetch marks, but that is not core part of the question. The core part is the how are they formed. So you write the geomorphological factors 1, 2, 3, 4 each with example, point, example, and then you mention the climatic factors that are causing these issues. Then you toward the last bit you can simply write government has taken such a measure. Just one sentence or 2 sentences, one sentence like such a mission is there, such a national mission on sustainable Himalayan ecosystem, just mention that, something like that, and then you conclude with the best practice. Avalanches are like that and we can do all these things, you can mention. Okay, it depends upon where you are writing it. Okay, but the core thing is you have to address this bit. How are they formed. We will discuss deeply more regarding how to write the answers and all, but keep in mind this is an important topic for both prelims as well as mains. Again, avalanches, this is again can be asked as a disaster, right? Usually avalanche is usually associated with disaster. There's a high chance it could be asked here, not in GS1, but then again it's UPSC. So explain the spatial distribution and causes of avalanches in India. Why are the Western Himalayas more prone to such disasters compared to the Eastern Himalayas? So here you can see spatial distribution is asked. It's again 50 marker, 3 pages you get. Spatial distribution, first page you can give. Causes of avalanches, you can give a second page. Why are the Western Himalayas more prone to such disasters? You can, the last third page you can write. Okay, spatial distribution, you can draw a map, you can map, you can mark the recent occurrences of avalanches. Second, causes we have discussed in detail. Again, you can divide it earlier, like geomorphological factors, climatic factors, or you can anthropological factors, and the heading you can give. All these are different headings which actually help the examiner to give you marks easier. Okay, so then move on to why are the Western Himalayas more prone to such disasters. So we see that Western Himalayas are more prone due to multiple reasons. You know that in Western Himalayas, it's actually in higher latitude than the Eastern Himalayas. So the insolation is comparatively less. So the snow line will be lower, right? Snow will occur at a lower height. So obviously, if snow accumulation is happening at a lower height, there is a high chance for more disaster, right? For more avalanches. Then you can also mention about the different faults. In Western Himalayas, you have a lot of faults, between Himalayan frontal thrust is there, main frontal thrust, main boundary thrust, like all those different fractures are there. So those many reasons are there. So please write using geography key terms, terminology. We will discuss all these things, but prepare topics for both prelims and mains, especially core topics. So please watch those videos where we discuss the core topics, so that you can whenever you read a current affair for this next prelims and for next year, read it in a manner that you can get maximum benefit out of that topic that you study. Okay, so that's all from my side on this session on current affairs.